40 Watters, welcome this week's episode, 40 Watt Podcast. Thank you for joining us. Going to take care of housekeeping real quick here at the top. First of all, hit like and subscribe. I appreciate you being here. If you hit the bell icon, you'll get notifications when YouTube videos go up. If you are not watching this on YouTube and you're listening to the audio, please hit the follow button and rate and review the show. 5 stars is great. Anything less than that's a failure, and I need to do better. So if you want to do that, 6 stars if they let you. All those things, go to patreon.com/40watt podcast if you want to financially support the podcast. You can also just follow there for free if you want. You don't really get any perks other than when things go out, I try to send notifications over there. It's $5 a month, helps me out, gets you extra content every time a show goes out. I'm trying to make this quicker. Some people said that my intros go too long, but I like, whatever. I want to talk about people and things. I'm going to talk about the people that make this show possible. We have a few sponsors. First of all, let's talk about Barry from Grez Guitars. Grez Guitars, making guitars over in Northern California out of reclaimed redwood. Y'all, I've talked about it every week for like 2 years now. Surely you have heard me talk about, I don't know, maybe you're a new listener. Thank you for joining. I hope you keep coming back. But go check out Grez Guitars on Instagram. Go to the web browser. If you go check out for you YouTube watchers right there, the grand tour, mine's actually the one that's on the website. It's the pictures, at least some of them. I love that guitar. I've got a few others, a couple of other Grezes. There's one behind me, my Folsom. I love that guitar. I go back and forth with that one because I'm not really a Tele bridge pickup player, though I'm becoming more and more of one. I think you're going to love them. Go check them out. I'm going to move a little more quickly. Also got a couple of pedal sponsors of this podcast. Want to thank the folks over at Maris Pedals for continuing to support this podcast. I love everything they're making because it's way smarter than I am. I think the boys over at 60 Cycle Hum like to say that Chase Bliss pedals are more creative than you. Well, that's okay because Maris pedals are smarter than you. They're smarter than me. But I've been using them. I put them on pedalboard recently for the gigs I've been playing, and they are just ace. They kind of just put everything together the way I want it. Go check those out. And lastly, this is a little awkward. I want to thank Summer School Electronics sponsoring this podcast. Hey, look, it's Mark.
Oh my God, that's me.
That is you. I think you know a thing or two about those.
What a day.
Summer School makes really great pedals. Mark, you make cool stuff. Real cool stuff.
Back there on my shelf over that way.
Yeah. You probably have this. Oh, I can't show that one.
It's a surprise. There's stuff.
Put it on Patreon. How about that?
Perfect.
We're close. We're close.
The boss says it's okay.
The boss says it's okay. Have you checked with PR and marketing to make sure embargo's okay to break?
I mean, Gladys is sleeping on the couch and Gus is sleeping behind me. So PR and marketing say we can talk about new unreleased stuff on Patreon.
Excellent. So we're going to do that, but we're going to move on in. Thank y'all so much. First of all, Mark, thank you for your support. And Maris and Grez, thanks for supporting the podcast. So look at that. Under 3.5 minutes, y'all. I don't know what more I can do for you.
With me interrupting.
Yeah, exactly. With you. Actually, not interrupting, adding flavor. This is the way it works. Mark, I know you're not a sports guy, but this is the way sports works. There's a play-by-play guy. Mm-hmm. And then there's color commentary.
Oh, listen.
And yep, go ahead.
I watch enough wrestling. I understand the roles. That's close enough. I get it.
Color commentary is always the most fun. My favorite color commentator is at this point Snoop Dogg.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great when Snoop calls baseball games. It's one of my favorite. I know all of you fell in love with him calling the Olympics this year, but seriously, baseball's where it's at. I need Snoop calling Braves games. That's all I'm saying. So Mark, we sort of threw this together because I'm going to be going out of town as this podcast is releasing.
Hey, me
and
too.
I needed to get something out to the people, and I want to talk about a bunch of things. But first, how are you?
Very hot. We're going through this heat wave in the Northeast right now. That's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So we're podcasting in the basement right now. It'll keep it cool.
Yeah, y'all are warmer than us down here in Mississippi.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's terrible. But yeah, so that's going on, and just been busy. Like you said you're going out of town this weekend. I'm doing the Baltimore Pedal Show.
Yeah,
this
actually,
Saturday.
We're going to be crossing paths because you're going to Baltimore. I'm going to Philadelphia.
I'll just I'll just wave hi as
Yeah,
we drive by.
I'll wave. Actually, yeah, as you pass Philly, because I'll already be there.
Yeah.
I really did try to make it work, like whether or not I could drive down to the Baltimore show, but I have too much going on that day of the show.
It's like
I can't make that work.
2 hours out of the way.
I know the problem is I don't have a car. I'd have to rent
Yeah.
a car to drive down there. And I was like, I like y'all a whole lot. I don't know that I'm
Well,
renting a
can't
car.
these Patreon people pay for an Uber? We could just
I,
make that happen, right?
oh my gosh, an Uber. The renting the car is cheaper. just saying. Um, but yeah, so it's been a while since we chatted. We have some stuff obviously new that we're going to talk about, but actually since we last talked, you also put out the Spring Break Reverb,
Did.
which is maybe my second favorite pedal that you make.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I love that pedal. I thought of it like a year ago in like February,
Mhm.
and I was like, it'll be a spring reverb, and we can call it the spring break. It ties in with the school thing. Oh my god, great idea! But it was like February. I'm like, there's no way I can get these built in time for spring break. And if I don't release the spring break in the spring season, I'll look foolish. So I had to sit on that design all year, and I remember like having the blank prototype at like Fretboard Summit, and everyone's like, "What's this?" I'm like, "It's this weird reverb thing I'm doing." And they're like, "That sounds cool. When's that coming out?" I'm like, "It's gonna be a minute. Give it like you're gonna be like 9 more months, and then maybe it'll be out."
Yeah.
But
Well, that means NAMM was the perfect time to debut it because,
yeah,
not available maybe May.
yeah, and I think we put it out early April, so we beat
Yeah.
that a little bit. And yeah, so that thing is out. I think I'm almost sold out of the first batch of them.
Nice.
Yeah, I gotta start ordering some more stuff.
Yeah,
So
y'all click the links below, non-affiliate links. Mark doesn't know that you came from this podcast unless you tell him. So go buy one. I really love that thing. I wanted to do a demo of it, but you know how my life gets once April into summer gets, because that gets my busy time at my day job. I got to play in
people
it
read a
though.
lot.
Kids read. Actually, so our summer reading program at work, um, we're pitting the adults versus the teens versus the kids.
Oh,
The teens are just wrecking everybody.
now
It's beautiful.
do they get a Pizza Hut personal pan pizza if they read like 20 books all summer? Because
No,
gonna be honest with you, that
we do prizes other than that.
oh okay. When I was a kid,
Yeah.
that did a lot of the heavy lifting.
I feel like that personal pan pizza prize for reading, I did a bunch of those as a kid. I mean, you can look at me and tell that I read a lot. But
So literate.
I'm so literate. I feel like that set the stage for the work celebration pizza party.
Oh yeah, that's why everyone's like that motivates everybody.
Yeah. But pizza, that motivates. Hey, guess what? It actually, no, it still totally works. I don't care what anybody says. People can talk trash all they want about the work pizza party. Still works. Yeah. So, but no, that reverb's super cool. I like the delay feature on the tails. And also, I think I was the first to tell you that if you click the delay on, because it only affects the tails of the reverb, not the dry signal. But then you turn the reverb all the way down, you still get the delays.
Yeah. And so
It's
like the
weird
initial
and
hit
beautiful.
doesn't have reverb, but all the delay ones do have the reverb. And I just when I was I mean, I get why it does it, but when I was like building and testing, I'm like, I didn't even think like, what happens if you do this? Because I was like, who would ever do that? Oh,
Yeah, who would turn
the
all the
first person I
reverb
send it
off on a
to.
reverb pedal?
Yeah. The first person who checks it out, I was like, hey, do you know I did this? Like, oh, that's interesting.
That's why you let people try your stuff right
Yeah.
there.
I was sitting on it for a year. So I was like,
Oh my
I
gosh.
figured that would
Well,
be enough testing.
well, my favorite is the new one we're going to talk about on Patreon. So that's we just keep hinting at the Patreon.
I like it.
But how's everything otherwise? Gigging? You playing? What you doing? I mean, I know these things, but the
Yeah, the
listeners
people.
don't.
Well, school's wrapping up, so my guitar club kids just finished their end of the year concert. It went really well. That was
Mhm.
super proud of those guys. And my band is recording right now. I think we got like 7 songs we're working on. We have 2 shows in Syracuse in July, and I'm like super booked just with travel through July and August for like Fretboard Summit and Earthquaker Day and all the events that we're doing. So we might try to do a little weekend tour too in like September, October, maybe. We're feeling it out right now. It's hard getting old. We can't do all the stuff we used to do. Everyone's got
No,
kids and stuff.
well, you not just that. I think just as you get older, one, you get tired faster, but also as you age, you collect hobbies and you collect other things to do and other responsibilities, and you just start spreading your time amongst them all. And like when you're a kid, you had all the time in the world.
Oh my god. I get
Oh,
the when I have like the Facebook memories like 10 years ago, like how many shows did I play this month? 10 years ago? I'm like,
right.
oh, that's like what I play in like 2 years now. And I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad I did it and it was great. But now I just look at that like list and get tired.
Yeah, I keep thinking back to when I was doing like I did the math once, and for like 3 years solid, I did like it was between 120 and 150 shows a year
Yeah,
for 3 years
it's
solid.
silly.
And part of me misses that, and the other part of me is like, that was fecking insane.
Yeah.
I just was.
it's I think well, sorry, this is kind of like a skewed thing. I used to play in a 90s cover band, and we tried to, well, I mean, we did do it, set the world record of trying to play the most shows in a week, and it wasn't listed. So we said, we're going to do 90 shows in 90 hours. And that was on top of playing like 90 regular shows throughout the year. So we technically did like 180. And it was, yeah, it was a dumb thing.
I did. I went
Within those
to.
90 shows in 90 hours, we broke the record for the most shows in 12 hours. It was like 32, but we did 40 shows within 12
Oh my
hours.
gosh.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah, there was a. I was at a show years and years and years ago when the Flaming Lips decided they wanted to break the record for I'm trying to remember what there were like some stipulations. The Guinness folks were there. It was a whole thing, like the most shows on a tour in like 24 hours or something
Yeah,
like that. And like there were some stipulations, like the shows had to be X number of miles apart in order to classify or as a tour or as something.
so
Uh,
yeah, it's I remember when we did ours, we were looking at like our drummer was handling like all the stuff with like Guinness rules and all that. Because
yeah,
I when the idea was pitched to me, I was like, well, I'm going to be on summer vacation, so I don't have a good reason to say no. But I'm like, if you guys can get this all tied up and get it all like working, then I'll do it. Thinking like, there's no way they're going to get it tied up. And they're like, all right, so here's the schedule for this weekend. And I'm like, you actually got it together, huh? So we're now I have to do this. But yeah, for us it was like a show has to be at a different venue and it has to consist of a performance of more than one song.
yeah,
So we had like two acoustic guitars and a tambourine, and you like go into a bar, play two songs, then go to the bar next door and play two songs, and yeah, do that for like 3 days.
yeah. So I looked it up, and the Flaming Lips were doing the record they set was most live shows in different cities in 24 hours.
Sure, yeah,
So, and they picked the Mississippi Delta for reasons I don't entirely know, other than I guess because the music history of it, and also it's one of the few places in America you can get to that many cities and like
probably like
average
not
a
get caught.
mile a minute driving.
Yeah,
you
not
know,
get caught in traffic.
exactly. So they managed 8 gigs, 24 hours, 8 cities, 700 miles, actually 699 miles. Um, and every show had to be 15 minutes long or longer.
Ass.
Yeah. So I was at and then they had a bunch of like support acts. Like Jackson Brown was the opener in one place, and like Grace Potter and the Nocturnals was at another. I was at the show that had Gary Clark Jr. as the opening act, which was
So you
super
got
rad.
like so you got like a whole like good show,
Yeah, you get a whole show.
and it's just like the Flaming Lips are here for 15 minutes, and they're gonna
That
go.
That's it. That's exactly what it
That's pretty
was. So
funny.
you actually get like an hour and a half show, and it was at Ground Zero Blues Club in my hometown. So it's like I had just I'm trying to think what year this was, 2012. So I had not worked there for a few years at this point. But I was there and I was like hanging out at the bar and just sat and talked to Gary Clark Jr. for a while. It was great.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was wonderful. Although I'll be honest, at the time I was a bigger Grace Potter fan, so I was kind of sad I didn't go to that show.
I'm sure you talked to
Um,
him about that.
yeah, I'm sure I did, and told him, "Man, you suck." No, I'm kidding. I loved Gary Clark Jr. But I also really, really, really did Grace Potter and the Nocturnals. Um, but yeah, that sounds. Now I'm like, that sounds insane.
Yeah, it's
Why would you do this to yourself? Like, I love live music, and of course I wasn't doing original music just like you. I was doing covers, and so like there's a point where you kind of get tired of it.
yeah. I mean, for really, it was like during COVID when I started building pedals, and it was like, oh, I have this other hobby I can do, and like I'm gonna start a business and call it summer school, and I'll do that, and that I'll sell a couple of those, and like as that grew and grew and grew, I was like, hey guys, I don't want to drive 3 hours through a snowstorm to play Hey Jealousy, and then like get home at 4 in the morning when I could just stay in my attic and build some science fair pedals and make the same amount of money. So I'm like, uh, I'll be honest with you. I think we it's run its course at this point.
Yeah. It feels like the only folks making any real money out there are those that are playing like weddings and events and things like that.
I mean, the cover thing, if you're doing it, kudos. That's awesome. Because I feel like there's the whole thing of like, if you want to be a musician, then you should be the best musician you can be. You should be able to play anything that's put in front of you. You should jump styles, play to the audience, do whatever. If you're an artist and a songwriter, you're trying to sound just like you and like be truly unique. That's also great. And those are two different goals. And you could
Yeah.
try and do both goals, but I think like admitting like, no, I'm a musician. I'll play whatever you what do you want to hear? I'll play it for you. Or like I'm an artist. I'm gonna play my stuff, and no one else is gonna sound like me. Like those are two different things, and it's great. And unfortunately, one of them makes way more money than the other.
That's true. Until you get to a certain level, and
Yeah,
that
that
level is
that
disappearing.
shifts. Yeah,
Yeah. So, oh, but having said all of that, gigs are good. Having to travel to make $100 for playing 4 hours is bad.
yeah.
Uh, but now let's sell some pedal. No, I'm kidding. Um, so Mark, when we started talking, like, what are we going to talk about tonight? I decided I need to air some pet peeves.
Welcome to our therapy session. Let's do it.
Yep. It's about to get real. This is some version of this is probably the title of the episode, so you can stop skipping ahead at this point. You've reached the meat of the episode. I don't know if this is going to go the 45 minutes to finish out this episode, but I'm going to rant for a little bit.
I'm here for it.
I'm tired of guitar pedals.
Well, that's it for me. I'll see you later.
No, but what I mean is we're coming out of, and I'm going to preface before we get started, listeners. I love all of these companies. Of the ones I know, the people behind the company, I love the people behind the company, some of which have been guests on this podcast. And I
Some of
love
which
their
are
pedal.
currently.
No. You're fine. So a couple of weeks ago, we did an episode all about the new Helix Stadium, the big, expansive, giant F all pedal board solution with like live tracks, and it's going to have capture technology, and it's like everything but the kitchen sink. And I'm sure they tried to do that because they're owned by Yamaha, and Yamaha probably makes kitchen sinks.
Yeah,
Um,
it's in the
but
motorcycle factory.
actually, it's probably in their boats, if I'm being real.
Yeah, that's true.
But and that's great, and I love those advances. And I'm not saying every company needs to do those things, but we're also coming off a week where someone launched another clone. Someone launched a Tube Screamer Blues Breaker 2-in-1. Somebody launched a what was the Imperium? I'm going to name Cornerstone. Y'all know who the others are. I'm looking at you, Keeley. I'm looking at you, Brown Amplification. The Cornerstone Imperium V2, and people are getting sideways over these releases. I'm like, y'all, how many more Blues Breakers and Tube Screamers and Clones can we possibly have and still get excited about them?
Doing great.
I'm,
You got more? Is that?
I'm going to slow down. I'm going to let you talk because I need my breath.
You're just gonna go smash all those guitars behind you real quick.
Not a chance.
I
I still get excited about those.
yeah, I get it. Um, I I will say also, uh, I haven't bought a guitar pedal in a very long time. Um, I think I don't even remember the last guitar pedal I bought. It might have been the Mythos, the Fates. I think that was the last one that I
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
that's a
oh,
good one.
I want to get it. Yeah, I really like that pedal. It's great. Um, but I reached a point. This is also like during COVID where it was like, I'm not playing gigs, so I can't keep like rotating stuff off my board for shows. Like I could do it at home, but like I have a ton of pedals at home that I'll just throw on the floor and plug in and record something or goof around, whatever. So I didn't have a reason to like keep changing stuff out on the board. And I was like, I don't, but I'm home and buying gear is what I've done my entire life. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. Cause like I was like, I really have, I don't have a ring modulator. That's the one effect I don't have that
Mm.
I also don't think I will ever need. But other than
I
that,
hear that if you can get the rate fast enough on a phaser, it can be a ring mod.
so apparently I have 6 ring mods now then. Um, but that's the thing. I was like, there's nothing that I really want that I can't just like already go to the shelf and like throw together, right? So I was
Right.
kind of burnt out, and that was where I was like, maybe I could buy a kit and build something. And like that was what started all of it, was like that kind of burnout a little bit, which for me led to uh it got me more excited about pedals again, because now once I'm like, oh, I know what's under the hood, and now I can start like fixing problems that I don't already have, like snow day delay, having the 2 delays in one that only eat one power jack, and like little and like the science fair of like running them in parallel, like that got me excited because it was like, oh, these pedals are now I'm making stuff to solve a problem that I don't already have. And
Yeah.
like I've had people tell me like, man, can you like, they'll look at the science fair and be like, can you just make a tube screamer? I'm like, I could. I don't want to.
But
Like,
why?
yeah, I was like, or like people will come at me and they'll be like, how come the tube screamer side of the science fair doesn't sound like my tube screamer? And I'm like, do you like your tube screamer? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, then you're fine. You already have it. There's then you don't. Why do you want another one? You have what you want. I give you something different, so you're fine. And but yeah, it's I completely understand the burnout, and there is just, I bet I also understand the flip side of like companies have to make money and have to make products and put
Sure.
stuff out. Um, and I think we're coming off of, I mean, the COVID bubble is done, but I think during that time you had a lot of builders like myself who were just starting out. And when you start out, yeah, you're like, I'm gonna make my version of a rat. And you're like, oh yeah, put it together. And more times than not, you're like, yeah, that's a rat. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
And
That's the way I feel about it. It's like for example, in yours in the dead gum brain. It's not the class reunion. It's the
science
science
fair.
fair.
There you go.
The tube screamer there doesn't sound like my tube screamer. That's
Yeah.
fine. It's a, it's a, there are tube screamers that don't sound like tube screamers. I'm looking at you, Earthquaker Plumes.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a tube screamer. But that's the point.
Yeah.
To do something that's a little different, that blending of sounds is at least a little different. I just adding an extra gain switch isn't enough to make warrant like a yet another of something. I'm just so burned out. There's 15 bajillion pedal companies, and at least 14.999 bajillion of them make some variation of the 3-knob tube screamer, the 3-knob clon,
Sure.
and a 3-knob rat, and a like I'm
And
I
the
don't want to sound ungrateful that we have options.
no, I completely get what you're saying. I mean, but the playing devil's avocado over here. How many T and S style guitars or LP style guitars are there that aren't made by Fender or Gibson that are on the market? You know, like
It's
people are still
true.
doing
Then
that.
ask me how many of them I own.
I'm staring at them over your shoulder right now. I got you.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's the thing of it's a good jumping off point. And some people, well, and then nobody says you have to buy all of them, buddy. They're not all for you.
That is my favorite. That
Yeah.
my thing is, though, it isn't about whether or not I have to buy it, because obviously I don't.
Yeah.
And I preach that too. You can scroll past it. You can. What I am just a little burned out on is another Tube Screamer or another Blues Breaker or whatever, another Fuzz Face coming out that I'm supposed to get all sweaty over because the hype machine tells me I should be getting sweaty over this. When in reality, it probably sounds great. I listened to some demos of the new ethane. I don't even know how to say it.
You
The
nailed it.
new Brown amplification. It sounds great, but so do a million Blues Breakers and Tube Screamers.
And that's the thing. Like, it's, I think they're, well, before I even go down that thought train, so much of it is we play with our eyes more than our ears. And you know this as much as anybody
I
else.
do.
For years, I was like, I don't like Tube Screamers. It doesn't do what I want it to do when I play. And I think it's just like I tend to play more high gain, like rock music, and I don't, you know, have a twin or whatever, like on the edge of breakup, and I need that little thing to put. I just don't do that. That's not me. Um, However, when I first played was it the East River Drive, the
Yeah,
electronic
yeah.
one, I was like, ooh, I like that. And I'm like, hey, idiot, that's a Tube Screamer. But for some reason, maybe I was playing with my eyes. I don't know, but I was like, I really like that pedal. You're like, yeah. I mean, so do millions of other people who have played Tube Screamers. Um, but for some reason, I don't know how different it is under the hood. I haven't gone through like the schematic or anything, but
I know
that
it's a lot cheaper.
yeah, that one connected with me more than others, and it might have just been that it was a different name and artwork. It might be something that's like mechanic, like, oh, it filtered out the whatever frequency that you can't hear anymore, so now you're like, that's fine. I don't know. But yeah, I think part of it is people do buy with their eyes. So if you are into brand blah 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 and they put out their pedal and it's real crisp and it has a cool look to it, it has the fancy knobs, and you're like, oh, add to cart, like
Yeah.
that. Okay, that got you for that reason. However, these things are playable baseball cards. We all buy, sell, and trade them all the time. And I think everybody gets to a point where they're like, I don't have room on my shelf or cabinet or whatever anymore. And they're like, okay, some stuff's got to go. Maybe the 5 Blues Breakers can go, and I'll keep the one that I really, really like. And
Or if you're like me, you end up selling one and then buying 3 other variations of that same circuit.
buddy, just buy more
Why?
shelves. I just buy more shelves. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, I cracked the code.
Yeah. I'm just saying that if you go to Lowe's, the wire frame shelves aren't that expensive, and you can fit a lot of stuff on those.
Yeah, that's where I got the ones over there that have the little display shelf thing for all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Yeah, they're very affordable. And with those savings, you can buy more Tube Screamers because apparently you really like Tube Screamers.
I
Only
just
3 knobs though. You only want 3 knobs.
I know I probably sound more frustrated than I am with this, but it just I was in a text thread with some friends, like talking about this kind of thing, and they're like, "Oh, have you seen this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did. It looks cool. It sounds great. I I guess I'm glad it exists. I'm just not excited about it. I have a really hard time getting super pumped about. I think I'm just old. I think I've just been doing this too long. I've been playing guitar for 26 years. I've been doing this for too long. Maybe it's time to do something else. Not really. I'm going to keep
Well,
playing guitar, but maybe it's like I need to find a new focus, like a new fixation.
and the part of it is like, what do you actually need, or what are you going to be using for? Because I remember Like when I first started playing, I had like a couple like real crappy pedals. Like I had, I'm not saying it's crappy, but it was a Boss DS1 that I didn't know how to use, so it
Oh
just
yeah,
sounded real brittle, you know.
yeah.
And I think I had like a Zoom 505 processor thing, you know. That's what you get when you start, you know. And shortly after that, I realized, like, you know what? I don't need pedals. And I played for a long time. You're like, my PV Bandit has a dirty channel that sounds really cool. I'm going to
It
use that.
does.
And
It does. And if you
yeah,
don't believe me, you need to just go buy a Bandit. I don't care which version.
yeah,
Go buy a
man,
Bandit.
PV should start paying me and you to just like rep
I
bandits. Let's
I
make
know.
that happen.
I bought another PV amp last week.
You sent me that. That was like
Yeah,
your first
I bought
stamp.
an
You like rebought it.
Audition Chorus. I bought it, and I'm so excited. And right after I bought it, I went on, kept on the nostalgia train, and I went on Reverb and made an offer on my first pedal I ever had too.
Oh,
And
what was that
that's
one?
coming in. Do I want to divulge it, or do I want to wait and
Sorry,
try
save
to
it for
do something?
content. You got to get the clicks out of it.
No, I'll do it because it'll be fine. My very first pedal ever was a Morley Diamond Distortion. And the only reason I bought that one is because it was on clearance from Musician's Friend for $25.
That's why I got the DS1. $30 all day. I mean, and it was like, oh, that's the one that Kurt Cobain stepped on. My one friend that plays guitar told me that.
Yep.
And yeah. So but when I had like not great pedals and I was like,
Mhm.
what, this amp sounds awesome. I'm just gonna use that. And I remember going for years not using like a pedal board like at all. Like we would
The
tune
same.
we would tune before we started the set, and by the end we all were out of tune with each other and sounded terrible. Actually, by like the second song, we were all out of tune with each other. But I just didn't do pedals. And so, you know, as I got older and played in other bands, I was like, oh, maybe I will buy this. I started working at Guitar Center so you could get a deal on stuff. So the collection started growing. Um, and
There
lately it's been
there
like,
is a legion of guitarists out there who worked at Guitar Center long enough to get the discount to buy the one piece of gear they wanted and then quit.
oh yeah, I worked with a lot of them. But like even now for my original band, Bridge Under Fire, who's recording right now, when we're putting together like a new album and we're like, all right, we're gonna start, you know, writing songs, I'll like tear my board apart and be like, I think I need a big muff. All right, I'll grab this pedal that's on the board. And so like each album the board is different because it's tailored like to those songs, which I was like, that's kind of a fun way to like, you know, clear the palette, and then you're just kind of like painting with like, hey, maybe we do need an analog delay for this bit. All right, well, I guess I got to get a carbon copy or something to put there. So like I've used that's got me excited with effects because then by the end you're like, oh, hey, maybe I don't need that, and that because this is really what we need for the next like year or however long we're going to like we're going to start this process all over again. And even now I'm like thinking ahead for the next like writing cycle and I'm like maybe we should try going back to no pedals. Maybe I'll just use I have a orange AD30 which I'm like the dirty channel on that sounds great. And I'm like maybe I'll just hook up the foot switch and like you've gone from playing so many pedals to starting your own pedal company where now your board is like all summer school pedals. Be like, why don't you just try no pedals for the next one? Just see what you can write and how that'll be different. And then after that, pedals will be exciting again. So maybe
Maybe
that's
that's
your challenge for your next set of gigs. Get that
maybe I
PV
need to
Bandit.
go
Get
just
that.
fully fast. Just go full fast on pedals. None. No,
Yeah.
I can't gig the Bandit. It's not going to cut it. I love the
Not with
Bandit.
that attitude.
I know, I know. Well, the problem is my only gigs right now are in this cover band that I have to do a few certain sounds. But
However,
if I were
the
doing
Bandit
original music,
the Bandit has the extension cab. You could hook a 412 up to it and make it a 512, and then you're in business.
I'd have to buy a 412. I
Worth it.
sold my only 412.
Worth it.
Those things jumped up in price again all of a sudden out of nowhere.
I think they did on like Reverb, but I think they charge negative shipping. I think they'll pay you to take it off their hands. You're like, I paid $400 and he gave me 150 back just to take it.
That's true. That's almost exactly true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's part of it. And I do love pedals. I love different sounds. It's just seeing a lot more of the same. I want to see I'm finally in that boat I was making fun of other people for being in. I just want to see a little more creativity out there. I want to see not the same four circuits being made over and over and over and over again. Or if you're doing them, do them in an interesting way.
And
Um,
I think that's also, I mean, talking to you pedal builders, I think it all comes down to people's like their, this sounds dumb, but like the philosophy of like what they're making, in that
yeah.
uh like I love JHS and I love Josh and what he does, and is like, I'm taking these old circuits that you can't get because they're just not available or they're
Yeah.
stupid expensive, and I'm making an affordable version that's true to the history, and it's that, and that's most of what their line is at this point, is like historically accurate but modernly affordable pedals, right? And that's great and that's awesome, and they do it. Nobody else needs to do it. They do it. And so trying to find your
There
own
could
way
be a
to do it.
couple of others. There could be a couple of others.
But but like for him, like that's the brand. And
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And then
Yep.
you've like Chase Bliss is doing their thing that's like they're Chase Bliss. If somebody tries to do it, they're like, oh, that's a Chase Bliss type pedal. Like they're the Kleenex of that type of pedal. Like you use that brand name to describe it, you know?
Yeah.
And
And they are, and they're rad. Every time I try to get into them, at least the compact ones, I can't. I love the sounds they make, but I remember how much I hate how close their foot switches are
sure.
to each other.
But and even so, like other, different brands do very different things. Like Analog Band does something very unique, but it's different than what Mythos does, and that's real different from what Earthquaker does. And like these brands have really worked to find their thing, and I think some brands maybe just haven't found their thing, or if they did, their thing isn't your thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the creativity. Like I know for me, and I'm going to talk about me. I don't have a therapist, so I'm the like best expert on me. So I'm going to talk about that. Uh, I think our pedals, I try to make them like fun to play alone and fun and functional in a band. Like I want it to have a practical use that you're like, hey, I can bring this to practice. I can dial it in. It's not going to sound like mud with the bass player. It's, not going to get taken out by the cymbals, and it's functional. It's great. But also after practice, when I go home, I can start spinning the knobs and be like, "Ooh, I didn't even think of like that tone that inspired this riff," or like I could make it do this other weird delay thing. Like that's pretty cool. And I think by trying to follow those two rules has like been helpful to me and our company, because like, yeah, it'd be cool to do a Klon circuit. It's a cool circuit. It sounds great, but it's been done so many times, and like I've built clones. Like I've made a handful of them for friends and for different, people wanted them over the years. And it's like, okay, well, what can I do with it that also hasn't already been done? Like I changed the diodes. Okay, I can think of 10 other clones that's the
Yeah.
feature. You can change that. If it has a bass boost, again, there's 10 other ones that also do that. So if I'm going to do it, it's like, all right, well, what can't it do? Or what problem can I make this solve? And that I think has helped us out, especially with like less sexy effects, like a boost or a
Oh, yeah.
compressor, where it's like I really want to do a compressor because I want a compressor, and I don't really like the ones that I've been playing, so let me dial in one that I like. And then trying to make it fit those rules, I'm like, okay, how do you make a compressor like a fun thing to play on its own? And that led down a whole other like rabbit hole, and I think that kind of helped us make the half day compressor, where it's like, oh, you can make it for guitar or bass, and there's an EQ added to it, and it has a ton of extra volume, so you can get the squash sound but at like solo volumes and like all this different stuff. So I don't know, that's what I've been doing to try to get out of the rut. So Philip, just start a pedal company and then build whatever you want.
Absolutely not. I will not become one of you lunatics. That's I've said that over and over again. I think actually I sort of think it would be rad. What I don't have that itch to like breadboard and like do all of that. I have ideas. I need someone else who wants to make the things. That's the real trick. But I
Yeah, I hate to break it to you. Do you know every pedal builder who's ever done like a pedal show
uh
has the at least 5 people a day come be like, you know what you
well,
should
yeah.
make. Everybody's got the ideas.
Dude, Mark, I throw ideas at you all the time. Actually, most of the time I don't have the pedal. I have the name.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
I do have a lot of those.
I've already named it for you. I don't know what it does yet. So
I also have a never-ending list. I have like my list of pedal ideas. I'm like, all right, somehow I have to make that work. I have a second list of just school names. I'm like, somehow we have to cross-reference these and be like, that effect goes with the detention slip. Okay, that makes sense.
well, it's a matching game. Like
Yeah,
actually not a game. This is an exam type. Just
yeah.
match.
That's literally what I have to do to be like, that one will go there. Okay. Oh, but that should readily be a phaser instead of a delay. Okay, erase that one. That goes here. That's
I
what
love
I
it.
end up having to do.
I love it. Oh, all right. I'm done yelling at clouds. I look, listeners, viewers, I know that I am being ridiculously over the top about this. I'm actually not as mad as it comes across. I'm probably not even as frustrated as it comes across. It just today I've had a bad day and it caught me at a bad time and I'm just like I'm sick. I think I'm really just sick of these 4 circuits. It's really
And
what.
that's, hey man, I completely get it because again, there are pedal. Have we said like you shop with your eyes and you're like,
Yep.
oh yeah, there are a couple things that I've seen that I know either like I know they're coming out just from talking to people and like
Yeah.
got a preview, or they've come out in the last like 2 years, and I was like, that looks great. That sounds great. And I'm like, I have 3 other things that do that currently.
Yep.
And it's okay to be like, that's rad. I don't need it, but I like to know that that exists for somebody. And
I
that's
should
fine.
I should also probably do a little bit of a privilege check and realize that I have years worth of gear collecting behind me, and some of the things I have that do those things aren't actually available anymore. So this is a new generation getting an opportunity
That
at
is
some
true.
circuits.
Yeah, that is true. Because that's, again, with the baseball card thing, I have some that I'm like, oh, I can't sell that because that was a limited edition
Yeah.
or someone I'm friends with made that or whatever. So there's certain ones that I can't get rid of for that reason. Um,
I've I've
but it
got
is
one that's super wild. It's this huge enclosure. It's called a report card. No one will even understand that thing.
it's I got one over there somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a whole annoying thing. Maybe we'll do something else silly some day down the line in like 2 months,
Maybe.
2 months in
Maybe.
Chicago. Uh,
Possibly. Could
all,
happen.
all sorts of silly fun ideas coming out this year. Um, but again, that's a silly dumb thing, but
Yeah.
it's fun. And
Yeah.
but it's now that you're saying like, oh no, there are new people coming out and getting into it all the time. Like when I go to guitar stores locally, there's always a bunch of kids checking out pedals, like playing
Yep.
demo, using the demo station thing, and it's like that's great, that's cool,
What
and
riffs are they playing though?
usually metal around here.
Okay.
Like it's usually like old school. Like, one of I ran into a buddy and his daughter was there, and I hadn't seen her in like a year or two, and she was like just starting guitar, and now she's like shredding like
Oh my
Injustice for
god.
All era Metallica, and I was like, I'm trying to talk to my friend. I keep being distracted. I'm like, she's like really good. And she's like, he's like, yeah, this is all she does. Like every day after school, it's like, and it's like,
Yes.
and then she's like, I like the metal zone, but I also like like a used hyper metal. And she's just trying all these boss pedals. And I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool.
The kids are all right.
Yeah. So like and, and that's the thing, like they're getting into it. And it's like, wait, they're getting in with Boss and they're getting in with like Electro Harmonics and MXR and all the Dunlop stuff and that, and you're like, that's cool. And like, yeah, they're gonna go like that's how you start. And then once you start to realize I like this style or that style, you're going to find what boutique-y thing is your thing, and you end up like us, and that's how life goes.
Yep, it's 100% how it goes. And thank you for therapizing?
Yep, that's what I call it. That's what we call it in the
Therapizing
biz.
me.
Yep.
Talking me off the cliff.
Yeah.
All right, I'm back excited. Bring on the Tube Screamers.
Great,
Bring on the Clons. Bring
there are
on the
5
Blues
Blues
Breakers.
Breakers on Reverb right now with your name on it.
Right. Actually, I say all of this like frustrated. Give me another tone bender. I will buy another tone bender today. I have a dozen of them. I will buy another one.
I want to get you like a Christmas advent calendar, but every box is just a blues breaker inside of it, and so you just end up with like all of them. They're all
tell if that's amazing,
but they're all different.
Awful.
They're all great, right?
No, they're not. Oh gosh, no.
The last one's a
Be
Tube
the most
Screamer,
expensive advent calendar ever.
Last one's a Tube Screamer, but the guts are just a blues breaker inside of it, just to be like, let's see how good your ears really are.
I wonder if that would be the most expensive advent calendar. No. Apparently, there's a $10.3 million advent calendar. Never mind, we're fine.
So that's totally. This makes this completely doable.
All right, so as we're actually, gosh, I have ranted about this, and you've talked me off the cliff for a solid 40 minutes.
I mean, I am a middle school teacher. I'm used to dealing with insane drama that doesn't make any sense.
I'm gonna solve your like what you should do for your songs on your album though.
Yeah.
Like building your tones.
All right.
So my buddy over at Made by an Okie, I don't know if you follow them on Instagram, you should, posted this I don't know, 8-9 weeks ago. And they created a chart where you roll a D20 to determine your tone.
Oh yeah, Steve and I were playing that game with like a bunch of different pedals.
Yeah.
We were messing around doing it. Yeah, that's right. I do know that guy. He reached out to me after we posted a video about that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We talked about that. Should absolutely just let dice determine your tone for each song on the album. And live with your decision. Live with what the dice have decided.
I will say, I mean, it doesn't have to do with the pedals, but when we were going to record a few weeks ago, for years I've always used like my AC15, and like I have one that just lives in my garage and it's easy to go with. And then I was like, well, I've been using this orange amp lately. I want to bring that to the studio. So I bring the head up the stairs and put it in my car, and I grab the 212 and can like barely fit it through the doorway to like go up the stairs. And I'm like, throw that in the car. I'm like, combo amps for life, man. I'm done.
No, man, head cab. That's the way to do it. You just need a smaller cab.
Oh my god. And it's one of like the old heavy orange ones. And I was just like, oh my god. It sounds great, but I'm very tired right now.
I love that. I've been the last couple of gigs I've taken a combo out just because they were quick setup, small stage kind of things, and I keep missing the head and cab combination because there's just something to it.
The combo I like because I have a road case that fits an AC15. Because we're in the Northeast when it's not today where it's 100 something degrees. It's in the negatives and there's just ice everywhere in the winter when we have gigs. So I was like, all right, well, I have this thing. It's on wheels. I can leave it. I don't gotta like carry it up and down stairs as much. And I'm like, guys, but when you do the gig, you can take it out of the road case and put the combo on top of the road case. And you're like,
that is handy.
That's your monitor. It's like right at like ear level. I'm like, oh, this is the best. So that I was kind of like a sucker for that, where I'm like, I do like having that when we play gigs where they're like, we're only putting vocals through the PA, no drums or guitar or bass or whatever.
Most of my gigs.
yeah, right. So I was like, oh, I got to monitor myself. I'm like, hey, now I can hear it. This is amazing. I'm solving problems.
Sometimes I don't need to hear it that strongly. It's better for everyone if I'm not blaring in my own ears.
Yeah.
I actually take a plexiglass shield to a lot of gigs. I've been conveniently leaving it behind lately, but
oh my god, I forgot.
Oh no, what am I gonna do?
The fishbowl.
Yeah, I am one of those guitarists that takes a lot of pride in having to be told to turn up, actually.
Yeah.
I take a lot of pride, not to the point of like I'm intentionally running it quiet, but I'm trying to be that mindful of space and
Yeah.
sonic space. But man, those shields, the thing they never tell you about that, if you're on a cramped enough stage where you're like right up against your amp or you're close to it,
Doesn't it, like, shoot up like the
yeah,
sound?
it shoots just high end up
Yeah.
into your ears, and it is awful. I can't stand it. But we do what we do to be able to use the gear we want to use. So, before we get out of here, I'm curious about this question because we're going to go over to Patreon. We're going to talk about new releases and those kinds of things. I told you what my first pedal was. What was your first pedal, Mark? Was it
Oh,
the DS1? That
it was the
DS1?
DS1. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was I had played drums before I played guitar, and so when I was like, I
You
want to
used
play
a
guitar,
DS1 on drums?
I did. Those snares sounded amazing. Um, that's when I switched to guitar. I got my Squire Strat Pack for Christmas,
Oh yeah.
and I was like, "Well, guys, I'm getting that. I need this orange pedal too, otherwise the whole thing doesn't work." And so, my loving parents got me that little orange stomp box as well. And I was like, "Well, I'm not going to bend over and push the little button to go to the dirty channel on the little Frontman 15 amp."
Oh
So I
my
got the
gosh.
pedal, and I played so many Nirvana songs, and yeah,
I love
those
that.
single coil pickups through a DS1 with that tone like dimed
God.
through that sweet, sweet Squire amp with an 8-inch speaker.
My ears are bleeding thinking about it.
Yeah, no
Well,
sweeter sound was ever heard.
it's funny you mentioned the 505 earlier. I feel like that was such a staple of like early guitar players,
Oh yeah.
especially of our age. Um,
So I
I
I
never owned one. I've never ever 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 owned a 505.
I have a mystery that I need to put out into the universe that I need to know what it was. So
Okay.
I had the 505 2, which was like the silver version of it, like the
Yes.
and weird things that stick in your brain. There was a setting on there that was labeled E4, and I bought it used. So I don't know if this was a stock setting or if it
Okay.
was like some that the previous owner had like made and saved there.
Yeah.
It was this weird, distorted, like arpeggiator sound. And I just remember me and my friends would when we would like jam and play, like, yo, use the E4 setting. You just hit like a big open chord, like and it sounded wild. And so I just remember that. And I've just always wondered whether that was a stock setting or if that was something that some other crazy person made before they sold the pedal. You're looking up the manual right now, aren't you?
According to the pedal manual, yes, of course I am looking at the
As
manual.
soon as I start I see you typing, I'm like, oh, he's gonna try to
Yeah, I'm
solve this
gonna tell you
mystery.
what do I do for a living, Mark? It's not play guitar. So, E4 in the Zoom 2, according to the manual. I'm looking for a copyright date. I'm okay. I'm not gonna find it fast enough,
Yeah,
but
like
I can give you Zoom's fax number.
1995.
I can give you Zoom's fax number if you want it.
I'll send him a
Uh,
fax from school tomorrow.
yeah. Um, E4 is the step jet,
So
and
that's exactly what it sounded like.
it is Zoom's famous step type effect, is what
Yeah.
they call it.
So yeah, it was like an arpeggiator. But
Yeah.
and it would be the thing if you were like, now put your guitar in drop D and just hit an open D and then just make that big arpeggiator thing. And we thought that was the coolest shit in the world when we were like
And do you know what
14.
E3 was? The
Not
effect
as cool
before
as
it?
E4, I can tell you that.
It was a ring mod, Mark. You should have kept it.
Honestly, it's probably still in my parents' garage. I'm sure it probably still has 4 AA batteries inside of it that have exploded.
Ooh. Oh yeah. Don't
It's
open that.
yeah,
That's a biohazard.
I'm pretty sure it's probably still in my parents' garage.
Oh my gosh. Well, all right, y'all. While Mark goes to check his parents' garage for his 505,
I
we're
really
gonna
hope
go
E4
over
works.
and hope E4 works. That's the signature sound of this new record that you're
Yeah,
recording. That's
it's
it.
a digital arpeggiator.
That's it.
It's great.
We're going to go over to Patreon, where you can join us, patreon.com/40watt podcast. $5 a month, you get extra content. just carry on the nonsense that we're doing here. In the meantime, click all the links below. Actually, Mark, I don't have to add your links. You're already down there because you're one of the sponsors of this podcast. So I don't know, I'll put some kind of nonsense link down there. Maybe I'll link my favorite webcomic. I don't know. There'll be some extra stuff if I remember to do that. I don't listen this far into the episode when I edit, so I'm probably not going to remember. But until next time, be good to yourselves, be kind to each other, and make some noise.